You decide what your worth is. You decide how valuable you are. You decide what you deserve. You decide how beautiful you are. You decide how confident you are. You decide how much money you make. Everything comes down to a decision internally from you. Hi guys, my name is Erica Hannah. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I felt like making a video about transmuting low self-worth. Here comes my dog because I'm not giving him attention. Okay, go lay over there while mommy films her videos, okay? So I have been somebody who's actually always had a pretty good self-confidence about me, but unfortunately a lot of trauma happened to me in my childhood that I lived with a really low self-esteem, and I had no idea until I started honestly healing. I hate that word, but really coming back home to myself. After my dad passed away, I had this crazy spiritual awakening, and it just made me really realize a lot of things. Oh my god, it just starts, it's just so deep. Low self-esteem and low self-worth, like the only way to diminish low self-worth is to replace it with high self-worth. Is to replace it with knowing your worth, knowing how valuable you are, realizing that you are perfect and you are the most valuable thing in your life, no matter what. I always like to say Earth is a backwards world because it's true. Everything we do on Earth, or everything we create on Earth, it has to be backwards. It has to be finding that, let's say, low self-esteem or low self-worth, and working backwards. Where did this first originate? How did it start? And then working and unplugging, plucking out those things. Does that make sense? I feel like, let me ground myself a little bit because I feel like I'm talking all over the place. For example, I was sexually abused in my childhood by my stepbrother. It was terrible, but that is my story, part of my story. And from that experience, everything that I thought love was fake. I thought love was something that had to be earned. I thought knowing my value had to be earned. I thought everything in life had to be earned. And of course, there's a balance and there's a degree to that, because you do have to sometimes pay your dues, but not in a sense of knowing your worth and knowing how valuable you are. That is just ridiculous. But you're the one who sets the tone for everybody else. You're the one who sets the formulation, or you're the one who sets the idea in people's brains of how valuable you are, because everything is perception. Everybody is essentially, all of our minds are all connected, right? So everybody, either one, they're gonna think of you of how you think of yourself, or two, they're gonna just perceive you in their own limited perception of how they perceive themselves. So either way, none of that actually matters, because the only thing that matters is how you perceive yourself, how you see how valuable you are, and how much your worth is. Since I had a lot of sexual trauma in my childhood from my immediate people in my life, family, I don't even want to say that, but it's true. I always attracted these cycles and people who wanted to take advantage of me and to diminish my worth. And it wasn't until I healed how worthy I deemed to be, then I stopped attracting people who would take advantage of me. And this went on until last year, to be honest. Last year was actually the worst of it, because I kept on I finally saw patterns of how I was attracting people who would hurt me. And I was just doing it to myself because that's all I knew. That's all I knew to be true. And then your whole perception of who you could trust and who you can trust is so mixed up. You don't know what's true, you don't know what's not true. So it's just a lot of unraveling and realizing, how worthy you are. And I want to make this clear. You determine how worthy you are, not your success, not what you've done in life, not your achievements, not how much education you have, not what job you have, not how much money you make, none of that. You determine how worthy you are. You have to decide. That's the truth. Everything comes down to a decision. You decide what your worth is. You decide how valuable you are. You decide what you deserve. You decide how beautiful you are. You decide how confident you are. You decide how much money you make. Everything comes down to a decision internally from you. I wrote this poem and it has to do with self-worth, because when you have a low self-esteem, you're going to attract people who view you as small. People are gonna give you the bare minimum. They're gonna be low efforting people because you are a low efforting person, because that is what your low self-esteem is telling you, right? But it's a simple little poem, but I remember writing it about my ex relationship, and I said, thank you for believing in me when I didn't, and thank you for not believing in me when I did. I know, this is poet over here, but it's true. You know, there's going to be people who, especially when you start evolving into the version of yourself that has a high self-esteem and a high self-worth, there's going to be people who no longer believe in you. They only believed in you when you had a low self-esteem, because now that you have a high self-esteem, it's a new person. They're not familiar with this person. They're not going to like you anymore. Unless they're the real deal type of people. They're soul kinship energy from you to you. But let's be honest, if you're in a low self-esteem, you're most likely attracting low efforting, small-minded people who are only going to like you at the version of you that has a low self-esteem. When you start changing and start deciding that I have a high self-worth, these people are probably going to fly out of your life like freaking flies, because they're not going to be an energetic match. And if they try to stay in your life, it's going to be a constant friction. It's going to be constant friction in your life. So you may be wondering, how can I change my low self-esteem? How can I have a high self-esteem? Literally, it all comes down to decision. If I could tell you, I mean, I can, but I'm not, because I'm not going to share like such personal things on the internet. But if you knew the amount of trauma that I've gone through, there's no way that I should be who I am today. There's no way. Like, this shouldn't be part of my story. I should be somewhere else. But I'm not. And it's because I decided enough is enough. I started noticing patterns of my childhood that I always had in my life. People who were jealous of me, who low-key hated me, who just wanted the worst for me, who would set me up for failure, who would rob me of my energy. And once I realized that I was attracting the same type of people in my adulthood, I made a decision. And I said, I will not be the person that attracts that type of people in my life anymore. It all starts with a decision. You know, sometimes we overthink on what action steps to take or what we need to do and all this stuff, but it literally starts with you saying, I just will not tolerate that anymore. This is my boundary. If this person overcrosses this boundary, they are cut off. It's that simple. I feel like sometimes we overcomplicate it. You know, our human mind wants to like overcomplicate things, but it's really as simple as deciding and putting that boundary and sticking to the boundary and not disrespecting yourself when somebody, because it's gonna happen, somebody tries to override your boundary. You're gonna be like, no, goodbye. I know what I'm worth. I know what I deserve. You could go fuck off politely and wish them love and blow them a kiss, or not. But everything really does come down to a decision. You decide what kind of life you want. And it's true when people say, nobody's gonna save you. I learned that the hard way. I constantly thought, oh, but if this person loves me, they're gonna take care of me, bitch, you're gonna end up fucking homeless and broke if you rely on people. That's the truth. Homeless, broke, and you're gonna be mentally ill and spiritually ill and all types of ill. You have to learn that you are your own savior. I pray to Jesus. I pray to God. I pray to the earth. I pray to my angels. And I know they're here to help me. But at the end of the day, they can only do so much without me doing nothing. I need to meet them halfway. I need to do the physicality of it, and they could do the spiritual part of it. Everything is a balance. Everything is a yin and yang. So it is what it is. Nobody's coming to save you. You need to save yourself. You need to change your own self. Literally brainwash yourself. If you don't even believe that you deserve all this, trust me, the more you repeat it, the more you're going to believe it. And the more you repeat it, the more you believe it, the more proof it is in your reality, and you're going to believe it even more. You know, I've been exploring manifestation techniques, and I've been realizing, you know, you actually don't even need to believe these things. You just need to reprogram your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind needs to obey you no matter what. It just does. So before you go to sleep, that's when you could reprogram your subconscious mind, that in-between state of like when you're fully asleep to when you're awake. You know, when you're like in and out of sleep, that is the perfect time to put on affirmations. I like to make my own affirmations and then listen to them, because hearing it in your own voice is like next level. I've talked about this before, but it really is next level. It's kind of trippy because you feel like there's a future version of yourself or an alternate version of yourself talking to you and like telling you these things, so it has to be true. So yes, no matter what your past is, no matter how much hurt you had in your childhood and how much you've attracted that in your adulthood, self-inflicting pain is very real. You have every moment in life, you could decide a new story. And it doesn't rewrite the past, because the past is already there. But it allows you to make peace with it, to know that you no longer want to plan out this story. You want to create a new story. You deserve the new story. You deserve to come here to Earth to live a life that is fruitful, that is enjoyable, that is adventurous, that is passionate, that is creative, that is filled with abundance, that is filled with love and good, healthy relationships, people who actually want to see you win, who actually cheer you on. You deserve that. And if there's people out there who have that, why can't you have that? You are no different. Just because you came here to Earth, maybe with a different beginning, doesn't mean you need to end the story in the same speed. It doesn't mean you need to end the story in the same way. Remember that, because I will not be ending my story in the same way I started, honey. I will have my dream life. And in order to have your dream life, you need to become your dream person, your dream girl, your dream guy. That is just the truth. You need to embody it before it is true. And if everybody says that about manifesting, you need to become it, you need to become it. It is true. You do need to become it. Because when you become it, it comes in fast. It literally, that's how you jump timelines. That's how you quantum leap into a new reality. So, I love you. Just because you had a shitty past and a shitty upbringing, or a shitty relationship, or shitty friendships, or shitty circumstance happened to you, doesn't mean that that is your whole entire life. And this is no way to bypass anything. I think healing is so important. I've done so much healing. I actually feel like I should go to therapy now, because I've had a lot of realizations on my own without therapy, but I can't even imagine if I were to go to somebody and speak to somebody. So this is no way to bypass any of your hurt feelings or anything that needs to be healed and transmuted, but this is just something to help you actually through that healing and help you with that transmutation, because I understand what it feels to hate yourself. Honestly, I understand what it feels to not like yourself and not like your life and not like how you're being treated, and then acknowledge how, wow, I've created the same energy in my adulthood, and then be mad at yourself for doing that. I know what it's like. So forgive yourself, have grace for yourself, forgive those who wronged you, and choose a new story. It's time for you to live your dream life. I love you. I hope this helped you. I know this was a little intense, and I know what it's like to feel these things, and that's why I'm here talking to you guys. So I hope this helped you, and I love you, and I'll see you guys next time.